So let's talk a little bit more about Andy Granatelli. So once Grancor was up and running, Andy was pretty much cornering the market on speed parts because the West Coast speed parts manufacturing companies weren't terribly interested in shipping parts to the Midwest. Grancor pretty much hit the ground running. There was a ton of demand. They made heads, intake manifolds, dash inserts, steering wheels, and a couple of other interesting automotive accessories for hot rod guys. They also gained a great deal of traction refurbishing Ford engines as high-performance Grancor engines. Now, you've honestly got to hand it to Andy because he started his business during World War II, and the majority of the people that were the most interested in doing this kind of thing were away at war. One of the largest blows to the company was the fact that Indy had actually shut down during World War II. That was pretty much most of the races, given the fact that gasoline, rubber, and a lot of the materials that go into making a race car were being rationed. Andy still maintained traction because a lot of people were still racing at Daytona Beach, and he started to get in on the action. During the end of World War II, and still at a time when racing was still pretty difficult, Andy decided that he was going to start his own racing association, and in 1947 founded the Hurricane Racing Association. Now, the association brought stock car racing and hot rod racing to Soldiers Field in Chicago. But it also brought a series of events across Illinois and Wisconsin. In fact, the Soldiers Field event attracted a record crowd of 89,500 people. Andy was honestly getting the hang of promotion, and he was already starting to promote other drag races. He was doing a drag race at Half Day Speedway. Using one of the emergency fields, it was actually one of the first nationally advertised drag races. Andy's events were pretty impressive, given the fact that he was pulling in around 26,000 race fans. And to give you some perspective, the races that were happening in California, the racetracks there could pretty much only pull in about 15,000 race fans at the time. But as I said in my last video, Andy had a sense for the theatrics. So showing up to one of his events, you knew you were always going to see something spectacular. In Andy's own biography, he said that the events got pretty hairy. He actually hired stunt drivers to crash cars for people's amusement. One of the things that he did, which was always a crowd favorite, is that he would drive a rocket car around, and the announcers would announce him as Antonio the Great. Now, there is still so much on this guy that I can technically do a part 3. Also, there's a unique connection between him and this supercharger right here. Also, they don't call him Mr. 500 for nothing. So there's still a lot we could cover.